Yo, what's good, everybody? Peacock here in Singapore, and I wanted to stop by. Oh gosh, it's just past 2:22 in the morning on technically Sunday morning, I guess. So I was just finishing up some Instagram social media engagement stuff, and what I'm finding is with this 90 engagements per day deal, this project to help me increase my viewership, it's actually helping me to search out particular hashtags that I'm interested in and see what people are posting and respond to whatever it is that they post. So whether it's, I've been tracking fitness today, so I was doing stuff like the Mad Bars family and Fit Moms, No Excuses, home gym, stuff like that. So I was going through and, engaging with people, responding to their posts and stuff. And I got finally to hashtags that had to do with emotional intelligence. And one of them mentioned a quote that says, let me see if I can remember it. Hold on. It says, first you run from the darkness, then you run toward the light. And the first idea that crossed my mind when I saw that basically was, cup half full, cup half empty. And it's something that I've been talking to my brother about lately as well. It's the way you frame everything, right? So you can either beat yourself up about it, or you can praise yourself for the few things that you did get right and see if you can't adjust the rest. But more than that, I just happened to also have another thought that was triggered, a new idea that was revealed to me in the movie Sarkar, which is a Vijay movie, right? Dalabadi movie. So in the movie, he's over here fighting the establishment. He flew down from the US to, cast a vote for the elections in India. Come to find out somebody had already voted for him. It's called a kalla vote, which is like a false vote, a bought vote, basically. And he was upset because he spent tons of money for this one vote. So he ends up kind of, trying to challenge the existing way of doing things. And during one of the press releases, he not press release, but one of the press, what is that called? When he addressed the press, okay, he insulted them first. He said, he was saying, cheating when you vote is almost like allowing people to say something about your wife and then you don't stand up and say something about, you don't defend her, basically, right? So one of the reporters took offense and said, what are you trying to say? And he said, I'm not trying to say it, I'm saying it. Half the population here is stupid. They have like half a brain or something along those lines is what he said. And of course, everybody got up and they started screaming. All these reporters that are like up in arms, shaking their phones and microphones and just upset, yelling, right? He said, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I take it back. I take it back. And they all sat down and they calmed down. And he said, half of y'all are intelligent. That's why I said that, this is how you would respond. And no one stood up. And it was funny because the next line out of his mouth was, this is marketing. I basically said the same thing I said before. The first way I said it negatively and y'all got upset about it. You took offense. You were very, very hurt. The second way, I said the same thing, but I put a twist on it. I focused on the positive aspect of it and none of y'all stood up. None of y'all. But I said the same thing. And I think it's important because it comes back down to all this mindset work we talk about, right? The first thing that matters is how you feel about yourself. And unfortunately, we're really good at beating ourselves up. When I say beat myself up, I get that image of Jim Carrey beating the crap out of himself in the bathroom during the movie Liar Liar, where he was told his son made a wish and he couldn't lie anymore for like 24 hours or something like that. So he basically kicked his own ass. But we do that in our own minds all the time. We harp on ourselves, on mistakes that we've made. We continually tell ourselves we're stupid, we're dumb, we're fat, we're not worth it. How could we possibly expect to get blah, blah, blah because we're lazy, we're slobbish, we don't know how to cook, we're not very clean. Like whatever the case may be, you keep repeating terrible things to yourself. And that's how we start to feel badly. There was another post that I was seeing where, you need to watch your mind and choose to be positive because if you have kids, they can tell when you're not feeling good. They really can. It kind of ekes out of there and they can tell. But it's up to us as adults to show them the way. Yes, we have these overwhelming feelings. Yes, we get upset. Yes, we have moments where we don't want to show up, or we want to shrink back, or we want to run and hide. Whatever the case may be, we're allowed to have those moments, but it's meant to be only a moment. You feel it, you understand what it is, you understand where it's coming from, and then you decide what you got to do about it. We're not meant to wallow. We're not meant to unpack and stay there. We're meant to feel it for the moment, meaning to say that it's like a red flag. Hey, something is wrong. It upsets me. And then you need to turn it over in your mind and figure out what it is that's upsetting you, whether it's warranted or not, whether you know, gave somebody a reason to treat you that way or not. And once you figure all that out, you act accordingly. You do what you need to do so that it no longer hurts, or you rectify the situation so it hurts less. But that's what I'm talking about, see? In that quote that I first started off this with, they said, run away from the darkness, and then you run toward the light. Yes, usually we start by running from something. Something will antagonize us, instigate us, push us to get up and do something. And at first you're avoiding staying where you are, maybe, or avoiding a new situation, maybe. And eventually, once you've accepted that it's going to happen, you run toward the next safe space, basically. You run toward the light. So I really enjoyed today in the last couple of hours. I liked the movie. It was very interesting. And I really wish that people understood what the movie industry is trying to do quietly, where they're trying to show us where all the problems are, and they're trying to instigate us with these, heroes that get up and do the right thing, and they're very smart about how they go about things. And yes, the good guy always wins in the end, even though he looks like he's about to lose 27,000 times during the movie. But it's meant to inspire us to action. But a lot of us with that church mentality will go to church, get moved by the Spirit. Yes, yes, oh my gosh, I'm making a difference. I'm going to change everything about my life. Step outside that door, get into a, let's catch up conversation with Susie from next door. And suddenly they're complaining about something stupid, and you've forgotten that you were moved by the Spirit in the church. So, as much as I do love all these movies, as much as I love the fact that they're trying to shed light on all the problems, the corruption in India, and they show you how to fight the system, I would really love to think that people could band together like they did. They showed us how social media really is powerful, that people banded together, that they were able to go viral very quickly because it was an electric situation. But it doesn't always have to be something that big. It could be something small. It could be something as simple as, I see people struggle with identity all the time. They like certain things. I see it especially now because my daughter's going through it, right? She's 8 and she's having trouble in school because she likes certain things and she's proud that she likes certain things. Let's start with her hair, for instance. She's half African American. She has kinky curly hair. I love it. And I take pride in taking care of it. And she usually has braids or cornrows or twists, something. Because the way I need to maintain her hair is a little more on the African American side than it is on the Indian side. Okay, her curls aren't that difficult to manage, but they are still very curly and they get dry very quickly. But what I'm talking about with the identity part is she loves who she is when she's at home. She loves it. She loves her hair. She likes playing with her hair. She likes the way it looks. She likes taking it down and putting it back up 100,000 times when it's in braids. She loves her hair. But when she goes to school, because no one else in her school has hair like hers, and we had to fight the school to allow her to have cornrows, because no one looks like her, no one talks like her. She has an American accent in a very Singlish community. Her hair looks different. She's got this golden brown skin, and the darker she gets, the more blonde her arm hair gets. She doesn't have boundaries like usual little kids do. She's very in your face. She's very encouraging and nurture oriented, and she likes to take care of people. But just like any other 8-year-old, she wants to be liked by everybody. So she takes it to heart when one person says, oh, you can't play with us because blah, blah, blah. So it makes me upset when you see movies that tell you how to overcome certain confidence blocks But when it comes to our own lives, we still have problems trying to implement. We start to make excuses like, oh yeah, but that's their life and their situation was so different from mine. I could never do that. But the bottom line is, if you were to frame how you feel about yourself in a positive light, it could be a lot easier. It could give you a little more strength and courage. It could build up your confidence so that it takes more than a couple of passing comments to knock you over. So in that regard, when I talk about Sarkar the movie, and I talk about these quotes where they're running from darkness or running toward the light with the cup half full, the cup half empty, it really, really matters what you tell yourself about yourself. It really, really matters what you're allowing, the thoughts you're allowing inside your head. Because ultimately they affect how you respond to everything. They affect how you feel about yourself. They affect how you show up in the world. I titled this episode Sarkar and Marketing because it is all about marketing. That is how we try to look at branding and marketing. I saw a commercial today for KFC where they have a dragon breathing fire, and in the fire, like the pattern of the fire, the flames, you can tell it's chicken, fried chicken, right? So they took advantage of it. So they could have put any kind of a spin on their marketing, but they took advantage of something that people feel passionately about and they feel very excited and happy about, and they made sure that they identified with that, a positive image. People try really hard to make sure that their branding is positive. Most people, except for newscasters. Newscasters are told to report on the bad things that are going on the earth, the strife, the struggle, the indifference, the racism, the hate, the intolerance, like all of those things. They're told to focus on the negative, and in that regard, the emotion that they're trying to evoke is fear. Be careful of where you are. Be careful of where you go and what you do and who you speak to and how you show up in the world. And that to me is as negative as messaging can get. But when they want you to buy something, they talk about how great you would feel if you had this and how great you would feel if you had that and how you could be a hero for a time if you just bought, McDonald's during this week of, I don't know, Thor promotions or whatever. But it's interesting to me, all of this positive, negative, reframing thoughts has to do with how people sell to you. They try to get you to turn your head and look again at what they're posting. They try to make you feel good about what you're about to spend your money on. So if they can do all of that, if they can pay attention to all of that, the messaging, the images, how they want you to feel about their product, why can't we do that for ourselves? If you know you want to be happy, why is it so difficult to tear yourself away from things that don't make you happy? Why is it so difficult to keep at arm's length people who are not your best influences? Why is that so difficult? Because that negative self-talk keeps you in your comfort zone. That fear keeps you in your comfort zone. So I'm hoping this made sense. It made sense in my head. I really wanted to draw that comparison between the movie and the quotes that I've been seeing lately. I like his analogy of how he called half the room dim-witted and everyone got up in arms, and then right afterwards he apologized and called half the room intelligent, but they said nothing, they did not move. It's amazing how much negative and positive really means. There's another proverb that I really love talking about. In your mind, there are two wolves you need to feed. One is kind and compassionate and tolerant, and the other one is angry and hostile and ready for a fight. And every time you find yourself in a situation where you have to choose something, you have to choose which wolf to feed. And the strongest wolf is the one you feed. So, pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to your words. Be very careful and very cognizant of what it is you want If the end result is for me to get my daughter to do her homework and be happy about it, I need to encourage her, not yell at her until she gets it done. Because yelling at her will take out energy from me, it will take out energy from her, it will take 10 times longer to get done, and it won't get done, usually. I end up having to fight her and lecturing instead. But if I make it a game or make it fun, or maybe I dangle a treat for when she's finished, or any one of 1,000 other things, honestly. If I were to frame it in a way where she would think of it as fun, of course, she'll hop to it, she'll get it done. But if I keep reminding her 100 times, oh, have you done this? Have you done this? God, what is wrong with you? Why can't you get it done? Let's go. You got to get it done. If I force her, it's not going to be her best work. She's going to have an attitude. It's going to drag on forever. So this mindset thing, serious business, okay? Not just for marketing, not for branding, not just for marriage partner, conflict resolution, communication between your parent and your child. It's not just all those things. It's all of those things, all encompassing, negative versus positive. It's always one or the other. So I'm curious, what will you choose for yourself? How will you market yourself? How will you choose your words going forward? Knowing what you know right now, will you choose positive and kind and compassionate and encouraging? I hope you do. Anyway, I'm going to call it, and I will talk to you again soon.